Today we're going to do the very worst thing that you can do as a guitarist, the thing that is the bane of many people's existence. So you want to play with a Floyd Rose? Well, this is part of it. So we're going to talk about restringing a Floyd Rose guitar. Now today we're going to restring the guitar with the same gauge that's already on it. That makes it a lot easier, and I'll explain why in a few minutes here. To do this, you need a few things. First, you need some Allen wrenches. I recommend this. This is a trim tool. Now, you'd have to get the spacing right because Floyd Rose trims come in a few different sizes. So if you get the trim tool for your size of guitar, it comes with a little clip, so you can clip this to the back of your headstock and then you always have it with you. So that's pretty cool. So you need this to unlock the nut and to unhook the strings down on the bottom here. You're going to want something to cut the existing strings off. I just used some wire cutters. You're going to need your strings of choice. Here I'm going to use my stainless 10s that I always use. You're going to want your tremolo arm. This is an extra one. This one's actually already on here. And you're going to want something like this, like a towel, something you can shove underneath the bridge. Now they do make specific tools for that purpose, but I just use a towel. We'll go into further detail on this particular guitar in a later video, but pretty nice, isn't it? But anyway, it's new to me, and the strings that are on it are nickel. I have a nickel allergy, so I need to change the strings. I figured I might as well film this process and make a video out of it. So let's go over the Floyd Rose trem system. So it's different than a Strat system in the way that the strings attach to the bridge. So what you've got here is you've got some blocks. These blocks are tightened by these screws here. They push the blocks against the strings. You cut the ball ends off of the strings and you stick the string down inside here and you tighten it and it locks it in place. So it can't move up or down. It's just right there. On the other end, you have your nut. Now the nut on a Floyd Rose guitar has got these little screws here and these blocks. They lock the string down in place so that it can't move up or down up here either. So the idea behind the Floyd Rose system is that you can do extreme bends one way or the other. And ideally, the bridge returns to its initial position and the strings stay in tune because they're not slipping. They're locked at both ends. A lot of these guitars also have a string retainer here, and this string retainer helps you have a good break angle so that you don't have too much pressure pulling this way against your nut in case these aren't tight enough or you can't get these tight enough to where it pulls it in and out of tune as you play the guitar. So that is an overview of what the Floyd Rose system is. The other thing is the bridge here is attached by these two posts and there's a thin block on the bottom. The only purpose for that thin block is to give it a little bit of sustain, give it somewhere for the vibrations to go. So it'll go into that metal block that's on the underside of this guitar. But unlike a Strat, you don't have to access that to change the strings. Everything up here is pretty much surface mounted. One of the things that makes this job so difficult, in fact, the main thing that makes this job so difficult, so there's nothing stopping this Floyd Rose, a normal Floyd Rose, which goes in both directions, from falling down this way, other than the strings pulling it back. So if you took all the strings off, it would just flop down, right? So here's the problem. When you take a string off, you're taking that tension away from the bridge, which causes it to fall this way a little bit. So the difficulty lies where it lies when changing strings with most guitars. It's just a lot more extreme with a Floyd Rose. So with a Floyd Rose, let's say that you replace, any one of these strings. Pick a random string. So you take the string off, the bridge goes down a little bit. You add your new string. Just like any other string, it's not stretched really, it's not broken in. So you tune that string to pitch, well, all of the other strings are going to be out of tune now. And so it becomes this song and dance of going from one string. You start down here, you tune them up. Well, now you get up to here, these are all out of tune now. And you have to keep tuning over and over and over and over till all the strings are stretched out. So the purpose of today's video is to show the way that I have found that helps mitigate that. That problem still exists, but if you use this method, it'll make it a little bit easier. And it's the method that I've used for a little bit with my Floyd Roses that makes it a little bit more tolerable. And of course, the end result, once you're all done, it ends up being worth it. Hopefully this saves you a headache. So, just a brief overview of what I'm going to do here Instead of taking all the strings off and restringing it all at once like I would with other guitars, do not do that with a Floyd Rose, by the way. It's a nightmare. Do one at a time. So typically, I'll start with the high E because the high E is providing the least amount of tension. So I'll take this off and replace it, retune the whole guitar to make sure that it's in tune. Then I'll move down to this string here, 4th string, do the same thing. Then the 2nd string, same thing. 5th string, same thing. 3rd string, and then the big chunk is at the end, because this is the one that's going to give you the most tension. And if everything was done properly, everything should mostly be in the ballpark to make it a lot easier for that final fine tuning before you lock everything back down. All right, a couple things. So the first thing that you're going to do, you're going to take your towel or whatever you've decided to use for this purpose. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to prevent the bridge from falling down when we take strings off. Because if we can do that, then we can maintain relative tuning to the rest of the strings. This is its natural resting position at tension at the right tuning. So as long as the bridge is in this position, in theory, we should be able to keep it in tune without too much drama. So I'm gonna get down here. I'm gonna get my towel. I'm gonna fold it a couple times. Then I'm going to pull the trem down like this. I'm going to set my towel in there. And hopefully that's enough. A way that you can check it is if you give it a little bit here, see how much it moves. That seems like it'll be close. And it's not moving when I pull on it. So again, that's not a foolproof, super scientific way of doing this, but it is a way that can help. The next thing you're going to do is unlock your nut. So, grab your little tool. Just put it in there. Loosen it. And since we're completely replacing these strings, I'm just going to take them out. So there's one. There's two. One more. And there is number 3. So we got the nut unlocked. And what that means is the tuners, they now work to tune and detune the guitar. So the next step is to tune the guitar and make sure that it is in tune before we go any further. All right, it's in tune. So now that we've got everything done on the nut side of things, we're going to move back down to the bridge side of things. Down here you've got 6, you can't really see them because of the towel, but you've got 6 screws, like I said before, that holds this block in. So what we're going to do is undo those for this first string that we're going to do. So first, tune it down, because you don't want to undo this and have it slap you in the face or whip you or anything. So tune it down a bit. Okay. And then you're going to get your trem tool. This is why it's helpful to have the trem arm attached, because you can pull it down like this, makes this part a bit easier. So you want to unscrew it, and then it'll get to the point where it's pretty much finger loose. There you go. String's out. So let's take the string off. There we go. There we go. And as you can hear, sort of, it's still in tune, because we put this towel here to keep it from slamming back when we took that string off. It also helps that it is the littlest string, so it provides the least amount of tension and should make the least amount of effect on the tuning of the guitar. So now we've got our strings, let's get our string out. Got my string. So what we're going to do now, because of the way that the Floyd Rose is, you don't need this ball. In fact, some people will put it through the tuner. Don't do that. You're just adding too much pressure and you're going to add too many winds to your tuner if you do that. So I'm just going to snap that off. Okay. Then you take this and you slide it in right there. You're gonna pull this down. You always wish you had 3 or 4 hands doing this with a Floyd Rose, because like one hand's got to stabilize the string, one hand's got to pull the trem down so that you can access it, one hand's got to screw it in. But go. And you don't want to do it too tight. There, that'll do it. You don't want to do it too loose either. You do it too loose, it'll slip out. You do it too tight, you're going to have all kinds of problems because it could snap. All right, so there we go. We got our string. Do a quick visual inspection. That doesn't look like it's going anywhere, so we're good there. You bring your string down here, through the nut, in the tuner. So far, after you get it attached, it's basically like any other guitar that you're tuning. All right, it's in tune. If I take this towel away. So that's kind of amazing right there. I mean, a lot of times when you're doing this with a Floyd Rose, you do a string and the whole guitar's out of tune and it takes you an hour to get it back in tune. If you do it this way, it'll save you a lot of time. So now we've done the first string. I would say the next string to do, I don't remember what I said earlier. I usually go by feel. So I either go 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, or 1, 5, 2, 4, 3, 6. So I'm thinking, to be safe, I'm going to go with 4 now. So we're going to go with the D string. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before. So again, tune it down. Get your trem tool, come down here, loosen that block. String will fall out or you have to pull it. It fell out that time. And then come up to the headstock, which I think I realized with my camera setup that you cannot see what I'm doing right now, but I assure you, I am pulling the string out. Hey, look, it's out, see? I didn't lie. So now you got that out. And what you're going to do is grab your D string, according to the handy dandy key that I should have memorized by now, but I don't. It's the silver string. So we're going to grab the silver ball. We're going to get that. One thing I don't like about Fender strings is that they pack them two together. So it's like the 5th and 6th string are together and the 1st and 2nd are together. I don't like that very much. For example, if you only needed to change one string, which doesn't happen often for me, I like to replace all of my strings at once, but if I'm playing a show and a string breaks, it's pretty inconvenient to have to run through there and separate them out, and they're all in the same bag, and I think most guitarists would pay $1 extra for them to be packaged separately. I know I would. They're already getting so expensive, though, that maybe we shouldn't suggest that they increase their prices for any reason. All right. Well, that's a sign. That means it's good. All right, so we've tightened that. We're going to bring it up to the headstock, just like any other guitar, Floyd or not. And we're going to get it up there through the tuning peg. So, get it through there, pull it through, pull it tight, and you're going to tighten it up just like you would a Strat. Once again, we're in tune. No problems at all. So, I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me change every single string on this whole guitar. I'm just going to cut and show you each string as I do it. So, first I did 1, then I did 4. Now I'm going to do 2. So, second string, I'm going to do that and come back. Making progress, got the B string on. Sounds good so far. So that's half done. So now that I've got the second string on, I'm going to move to the 5th string. Let's do that now. Another one down. Time to go to string number 3. One more to go, and that would be the biggest string on here, the one that's going to affect the tension the most. So let's change that one, and then we'll come back and finish up. All the strings have been replaced. It's about 3/4 of it anyway, and it's in tune. So now we need to put the nut back together. When you're putting the nut back together, you don't want to go too tight, but you don't want to go too loose. It's just like everything else with the Floyd Rose system. So if you go too tight, you risk breaking the string. It can also make it go sharp. So you don't want to do that. But if you do it too loose, then there will be too much play in the string, and it'll move back and forth. It could either cause breakage or tuning stability problems or all kinds of crap. So you don't want to do that. So what I like to do is I'll do it finger tight. I'll take my tool, I'll tighten it just till I meet a little bit of resistance and stop. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to tighten it like this. Grab your little tool, tighten it till there's a little bit of resistance, and then stop. There we go. Let's see how it does. Sounds like it's in tune to me. Well, I don't have an amp up here right now, but we can still kind of play it and see how well it stays in tune. So. Perfect. So there you go. That's how you change the strings on a Floyd Rose guitar, the way that I do it. Now, if you were changing the strings to a different gauge, the process would be pretty much similar, but the problem is, with the higher gauge strings, it's going to pull more on your bridge. So if you go to a lower gauge, you're going to have to adjust your springs in the back of the guitar to make sure that that bridge is as flat as you want it. But if you're going from the same gauge to the same gauge, if you use my method, it'll cut down quite a bit of time. In fact, I haven't had to mess with it at all. I haven't even had to touch the fine tuners. It's staying in tune. So I'm gonna gig this tonight, and we'll see if that causes any problems for me. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully it was helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Please like the video. Follow me on Twitter, Big Jake Music, Instagram, bigjake.music. Join the Discord using the link in the description if you want to talk about guitar and stuff like that. Thanks again, really appreciate it. See you next time.